Is your smartphone's battery draining faster than a Formula One car? If so, you probably spend too much time frantically searching for a charger. But have no fear, since today's video will reveal 3 revolutionary smartphone battery life methods that will change the way you interact with your prized possession. The thought of making it through a whole day of conversations, games, and social media without having to worry about your battery life is enough to make your jaw drop. What a fantastic fantasy! In this article, we'll show you how to make that wish a reality by getting the most out of your smartphone's battery. Number 1. Optimize your settings. First, we recommend adjusting your phone's settings to get most out of its battery life. This straightforward method will keep your phone running stronger and for longer. Battery life can be drastically impacted by the level of screen brightness. You can save a lot of juice by decreasing the screen's brightness to a setting that's just suitable for you. Most modern smartphones offer an automatic brightness setting that adapts the display to the surrounding lighting. By automatically adjusting the brightness, this feature can help conserve battery life. The auto lock or sleep setting is something else to keep an eye on. The time it takes for your phone's screen to go dark while it's not in use is controlled by this setting. By reducing the amount of time your screen is on when you're not using your phone, you can save power by enabling auto lock. Our next topic will be network configuration. Battery life is quickly drained by capabilities such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. It's preferable to turn them off when you're not using them. For those times when you're not at home and don't need Wi-Fi, turning it off will prevent your phone from wasting battery life searching for networks. The same rule applies to Bluetooth and GPS. Turn them on only when necessary. The battery life might also be affected by the option to refresh apps in the background. Even when you're not using them, some apps continue to update their data. While this is helpful in some situations, it does drain the battery quickly. If you don't absolutely require an app to be constantly updated, you might want to disable or restrict its ability to refresh in the background. While useful for keeping up with breaking news, push notifications can have a negative impact on battery life. Disable any unnecessary app notifications by checking the app's settings. This can help you conserve battery life and lessen the number of interruptions you face daily. Last but not least, many modern smartphones have an energy-saving mode. It could decrease speed, halt background processes, and dim the screen. When the battery is low and you need to get by until you can recharge, switching to power-saving mode is a good idea. Keep in mind that every smartphone has its own unique settings menu where you can make adjustments to improve battery life. The amount of time your battery lasts during the day is greatly affected by these tweaks. Number 2. Manage your apps. Did you know that even when you're not using them, some apps can be draining your battery life in the background? That's right. You may avoid this by keeping a careful eye on the apps you have open in the background and closing those that aren't necessary. Double tapping the home button or pressing the recent apps key will bring up the currently active apps on most smartphones. If you do this, your smartphone will display all the programs that are now running. You may get rid of unused apps by swiping them off the screen or tapping the corresponding button, depending on the user interface of your smartphone. It's common for social networking and messaging apps to stay active in the background, checking for new messages and posting changes. This has some practical applications, but it also uses a lot of power. You may lessen the impact of this by limiting the frequency of app updates and turning off notifications for any apps that aren't absolutely necessary. Deleting infrequently used apps is another useful app management strategy. Many of us are guilty of installing apps just to leave them running in the background, thus draining our batteries. It's a good idea to browse through your app library and delete any that you're not actively using. By removing these, you'll free up space on your device and ease the load on your battery. You may be wondering how to identify the most power-hungry programs. The good news is that you can usually see which apps are draining your battery the most by utilizing your phone's built-in battery use feature. Typically, this information may be found in the settings menu, either under battery or battery usage. The apps on your device will be ranked according to how much power they use once you access the battery usage data. You may use this information to determine which apps are the biggest power drains on your device. So, when you find an app with a surprisingly high power consumption, think about whether you truly need it or whether there is a similar app with a lower power consumption. Some apps even have their own built-in power savings modes and adjustments. In order to prolong the battery's life, these preferences typically restrict some features or lessen background activity. It's a good idea to play around with the settings provided by specific apps to find the best balance between performance and battery life. Finally, keeping your apps updated is also important for controlling battery life. As a result of user feedback, app updates frequently include battery optimization. Keep your apps up to date by checking for updates on your device's app store on a regular basis. Number 3. Change up your charging habits. It is a common misconception that you must thoroughly empty and recharge batteries at regular intervals to remove battery memory. For lithium-ion batteries, this is the worst possible scenario. This is a fallacy that has persisted since the days of lead-acid batteries, and charging a modern smartphone in this manner is not ideal. Lithium-ion batteries can handle partial charging just well, and it may even improve their lifespan. To have a feel for the situation, it helps to know how a battery charges. As their capacity decreases, lithium-ion batteries maintain a steady current and voltage. This voltage steadily climbs while the cell charges, reaching a maximum at about 70% capacity before beginning to drop off. The number of recharges you can give a battery before it starts to lose significant capacity increases significantly when you run it at a lower voltage. Every drop of 0.1 volts in cell voltage almost doubles the cycle life, as stated by Battery University. Therefore, charging your phone between 30 and 80% can help maintain a lower voltage and potentially extend the life of the battery. It's impractical to use only 20% of the battery between charges, but charging when you've used roughly 50% will extend the battery life. This is especially true if you refrain from always fully charging your device. Lithium-ion batteries benefit more from short, frequent charging cycles than they do from lengthy, full ones. Although many people have gotten into the habit of charging their phones overnight or in a cradle during the day, doing so is not recommended for a number of reasons, and the old overcharging myth isn't one of them. First, a battery's stability degrades with time due to the plating of the metallic lithium during prolonged trickle charging, which in extreme situations can cause system-wide faults and reboots. Second, as we've already discussed, it causes the battery to operate at a greater stress voltage when fully charged. Last but not least, it generates too much heat because of inefficient power dissipation. When the battery is fully charged, the device should cut off the charging circuit except for occasional topping up, or at least reduce the charging current to negligible levels. Although some phones are designed to stop using power once they're full, many others continue to draw as much as half an amp even when they are not charging. In many situations, turning off devices is also ineffective. While this isn't a ton of juice, it will keep your phone from overheating and cause a mini-cycle to occur as a result of the battery's continued use. Finally, parasitic load is an issue that needs to be addressed. This happens when a large amount of power is being used while the battery is being charged, such as when a video is being watched or a game is being played. Parasitic loads are harmful to batteries because they disrupt the charging cycle and generate mini-cycles, which cause accelerated cell degradation in a small region of the battery. Even worse, parasitic loads increase voltage stress and heat on the battery even when a gadget is completely charged.